our Arts Commissioner regular meeting. We welcome anybody online. Roll call, please, staff.
Okay. Chair West,
Present?
Commissioner Steiner,
Here.
Commissioner Chisholm, Commissioner Freeman. Here. Commissioner Grau.
Here.
And I correct myself, Co-Chair Steiner.
Thank you for
Nigel
that
sends-
important
Nigel's-
correction.
Nigel sends his best from tomorrow.
Australia? From tomorrow, right.
He's across the date line right now. Okay, pledge. Would you lead us, please, Robin?
Put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was doing it to the poppy. All right. Do we have, I don't see any public comment cards. Any public comments out there too? All right. The only consent item I had here was the minutes. And I want to make note, Robin, that we do have another, our strategic planning sessions was one meeting as well, and we'll see the minutes of that next time. Is that correct?
Yes, and I was wondering if this group would be okay with the visual minutes like they were presented by Noosa, or if you would like me to take those and do my best to summarize them in words.
Well, we have the visuals, and those are tools that we're using for our strategic planning. I just want to make sure the record shows that we did it.
I'll do something.
And we did
that's
our Pledge of
proper.
Allegiance and everything, yes,
Sure.
all right. So whatever that takes
Okay.
is all. I don't think we're going to be persnickety about what's on the paper, but I want there to be a record that it was a very valuable and fertilization
And
time.
lengthy.
Yes. Well, I am very pleased. I'm sorry,
Okay,
minutes.
on the minutes.
Anyone have comments on minutes?
I do. I have one thing, and that's toward the end, the italicized note that Valerie had made a suggestion that she'd like to nominate herself. I don't know if that's necessary, unless Valerie would prefer that it be in. I would prefer that it not be in because it's not material.
I wasn't nominating myself anyway.
Yeah, so let's, with the amendation that we strike the italicized, I would move to adopt.
Okay. Yeah, I was on the edge about that one too. It's not really an action
Number
item, so I will remove that.
That's the
5B.
last paragraph of the last
5B,
page.
I see there too. Good. And then, is Kiara with us?
She is not right now.
Okay, in the future, commissioner updates, these will be, our little, these little sort of public art, music mentorship, strategic plan, they never meant anything anyway, so let's just make sure in the, kind of going forward, we could just list our names for the commissioner updates, okay?
Kara may very well be watching on YouTube.
Good.
You don't see her here, though.
Motion
Want a
to accept the
second?
minutes?
You want a second to my motion? I moved.
Oh, you
I
did?
moved with the amendation that we remove the
Sorry, I didn't
italicized.
hear that. I'll second that. All in favor? I just need
Aye.
one. Thank you. Well, we're very honored today to have, let me see if I'm in the right order here.
Yes, you're in the right order.
Former Arts Commissioner, and Arts Commissioner Chair Barbara Hirsch to give us a report and a state of the arts over at the hospital. Thank you.
Is this on? Is this, okay. Okay, so I am Barbara Hirsch, and I am chair of the Operation Picasso program, an art and healing program that we've had since 2003. I was one of the co-founders at the Ojai Valley Community Hospital, which is now Community Memorial Hospital Ojai. So with a committee, a wonderful committee that we have, we curate, collect, install, and maintain all the art that we have there. The thing that we wanted to discuss tonight was the loan that we agreed with the city on 3 years ago. It's a fabulous collaboration, and I know collaboration is one of your goals. It's one of ours too. So we got 10 pieces. You have pictures of each of them in front of you. 10 pieces that were in storage at the museum. They were not being seen by anyone. Now they are framed, professionally hung, and they look absolutely beautiful. And they're located in the dining room of the Continuing Care Center and in the main entry. So they have star casting, really. What we need to do is, or what we want to do, is to extend that loan for 5 or 10 years. I know that Pam and Christine came to see it with me, and they were very duly impressed. So, I don't know how much you know about art and healing, but there's an enormous amount of research about the value of art in medical settings. And that's what I've been involved with for the last, about 40 years. So we would like to renew that contract. And I don't know whether you have any questions for me, but I'm happy to answer anything that you want to know.
Well, let's save our specific questions about the contract for our item that's coming up, but
I
we
mean,
do want to
about
welcome you.
About the project,
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, but I had some questions, like, which is the one when you walk in? Which piece is it?
Richard
It's
Amons, I think.
It's Richard Amon's Mandelier.
Okay, it's the one right there on the top.
Yeah,
And
And
it
all the
looks-
rest are in the dining
they're
room?
in the dining room.
Uh-huh. And have they just stayed there since the place has been open?
Yes.
Okay, is that,
And it's been 3 years, and nobody really has seen them. Our
Yeah.
purpose was to engage the entire community with the pieces. But because of COVID, we were unable to do that.
Sure.
But we see the possibility of being able to have meetings and viewings and so forth. And that's what we'd like to do in the next 5 to 10 years.
I've had the fortune and misfortune of being in several hospitals in this system, and I see the beautiful art hanging. Is there any connection between, like, what's in the hospital?
Well, I
and what's
was-
the CCC, and what about the other hospitals?
The Community Memorial Hospital I worked on for about 8 years, and left being an Ojai Arts Commissioner because I was working full-time on that project as a volunteer.
And that's also an absolutely beautiful collection. So Barbara, as you noted, Pam and I took a tour, thank you for that, and the works looked beautiful.
Really
And it's
stunning.
one objective of this commission to get works out of storage. In fact, in some cases, to get them out of these cluttered halls where they're not really seen and out into the community. So I commend you for this. I think it's very important. Let me ask you this. Have there been any accidents, any mishaps? And have works fallen off the wall? Has anyone thrown a glass of wine at one?
Not at the new CCC.
So when you say that you curate, collect, install, and maintain, the works that are the city works are all in the same condition they were in?
All the
Actually,
city works are, almost
Are
all
in
of them
better.
are in the same. They're better.
I was going to say they're better.
Some of them were not framed,
Yeah.
and so we framed them.
Right.
And, they're all, every piece in the collection has been changed as far as framing goes. Because when we started 20 years ago, we were using glass, and there is no more glass. It's plexi, and the plexi has a UV rating, and we also have, I do believe we have UV coatings on all the walls, on all the doors and windows, all the glass in the CCC.
I noticed that when I was there, that
Yeah.
it seemed clear that especially that long corridor, that it was
Yes.
clear it had UV treatment. And as you know, UV plexi is the standard for works, especially works on paper. So it's good to know that the works are appropriately light treated. And I know because of the kind of facility, they must also be climate controlled. So I think we have no concern
No
about
concerns
too much
about that.
heat, too much cold. So it sounds like they are in probably, as we look at our, what's apparently a waterlogged city hall these days after rain, likely your work, those works at CCC are in better shape than the ones we have here. So
Well-
I'm pleased to know that.
We try to take very good care of everything. And I do believe, when the new CC was built and opened about 3 years ago, every piece that was transferred was reframed, and new plexi was put into it.
What's in the hospital? What is the artwork there?
At where?
In the hospital, not the
Oh.
CCC, the Ojai Hospital.
It's a collection of Ojai artists primarily. And it's really, there are some iconic pieces there. I mean, people visit these pieces and tell us about them. When they're in a stressful mode, they have favorite pieces that they go to. And we're hoping to enlarge that by creating a sculpture garden. So we want to complement the interior art with exterior art because of the importance of being involved in nature. So
Does our agreement?
maybe we can do something with
us-
that too.
Does our agreement just about the CCC? Or
It's
is
just about the
the
10
CC.
pieces at the
I'm
CCC.
thinking that would get it even more attention if.
I was going to say hi, Barbara. I was so impressed. I thought it was stunning. The framing, it was really, really beautiful. And
Thank you. Well, we had a lot of experience with CMH. There are 770 pieces in that collection with 10 commissions. So we had a lot of practice.
Well, thank you. We're going,
Valerie.
I visited today for
Oh,
the
you
first
did?
time. Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I was quite impressed. The presentation was beautiful. I wasn't sure. I assumed that all of it was the city collection. So I'm just finding out now that it was only 10 pieces.
Yeah.
And my concern was with the labels. They're beautifully labeled, and the pieces that are the city collection. Do they say that they're on loan by the Ojai City Art Collection?
Absolutely.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't have the exact wording in my brain, but
I didn't
have-
see that on there.
We
Send
saw
you
that
the-
on the wall labels, especially the one in the dining room, for example. I recall that specifically.
Okay, good,
And
good.
Richard's.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely, we wanted to do a flyer or, invite people in small groups to come and see it. But we couldn't, and hopefully we can.
Right. Yeah, my other question with the framing, is all the backing and everything archival?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
We wouldn't do anything halfway.
we'll probably have some more I know I'll have some technical questions that we'll address when the motion comes up.
Okay, Hadi Lashkari is on his way here, but he's probably caught in traffic, so he will be here later.
he's the director of the hospital.
Yes.
The hospital director, lovely.
Fine.
So while we're waiting, I do have one question. You explained that the works are all professionally framed, and that's great. And I trust they were also professionally installed?
Yes.
Yeah.
they were.
You know, we're doing our 5-year plan.
Yeah.
You probably worked on one of those. You have any words of wisdom for your Arts Commission?
Well, I actually watched the retreat, and I took notes. So I can go back to my notes and send you something.
That's great.
But I thought it was really very well done, and I thought that Noosa really put everything together so well. And I'm so glad you did it.
Well, you were part of the formative years, the formation of this commission, and we want to do you guys justice by stewarding this further into the future and connecting the community to art.
Well, I'm very
Better
excited
ways.
about this commission, this particular commission. Anything else?
What else you
Chair
introduce?
Smitty, could I just jump in and say thank you to Barbara quickly?
That's Betsy.
Is that
Can
Betsy?
you? Yep.
Yes, you meant
Betsy.
Betsy.
Barbara, I just want to say thank you for doing the incredible work you've done for our community for so long and connecting healing with art. It's so important and helpful. And on a personal note, my mother spent some time there. She passed away at the CCC, and she was a huge lover of art and beauty. And I know that all the pieces that were there lifted her spirits every day. So I just want to say a huge thank you. You've
Thank
done
you.
incredible work. So thank you.
Okay.
And your boss is here. You want to introduce him?
Here he is.
Whose boss is
Please, Yadi, introduce yourself and give us your.
Sure. Well, thank you. My name is Hadi Lashkari. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer at the Ojai Valley Community Hospital. We're honored to be here tonight with this public-private partnership that we have thanks to Barbara Hirsch and her vision and our Operation Picasso volunteers that have put this great program together. One of the stories that I love sharing, my first year I came to Ojai in 2011, one of the things that just struck me was the art that the hospital had and this private collection that the hospital had. And in one of those moments, I was in my office doing email, and as I'm doing email, I see someone wander into my office in a hospital gown, completely ignoring the fact that they're in my office, but just mesmerized by the art as if they're walking through a museum. And I was a bit startled kind of initially, and we started to talk. It was actually a patient that decided to walk out of their room and was just pulled by the art, and it somehow ended up in my office looking at the art, and we both kind of exchanged how proud we were of showcasing this art, and particularly a lot of the local artists and the relationships that, whether or not we knew some of the artists and so forth. And it just goes to tell us a lot of the healing components. In that moment, that's all this person was thinking about and had been captured by. When we certainly moved from our continuing care center, our 18,000 square foot continuing care center, to our 42,000 square foot continuing care center, we had this ambitious goal of similarly being able to fill the new building up with art. And thanks to our Operation Picasso committee, we were able to do that in getting that going. And one of the things that I absolutely loved was Barbara's idea of really being able to showcase some of the, and have at one of our prominent locations, these 10 pieces that were on loan by the city. We did move into the new building. We unfortunately have not had, because of the COVID restrictions, haven't been able to open the building up the way it was intended to be with the community and how it was set up initially in the old continuing care center. And so when we heard that our contractual agreement was coming up, there was a little bit of a sadness that it would never kind of played out the way it was intended to. And when Barbara shared that there may be an interest in extending that certainly was something that excited us for those reasons. So I'm going to stop there. Otherwise, I could keep going. And
No,
that's not what
sure we
want.
want to talk to you.
Yeah, I have a question
Yes.
just on that point, and also Barbara, if you wouldn't mind coming back also, I think we'd like to hear from both of you on this question. So Barbara, you mentioned perhaps 5 years or 10 years. Do you both have an opinion as to which you would prefer and why?
I'll let you.
Well, I like 10 years because I think it's a really good spot. And it's costly to move things around too much.
And harmful to the works.
Yes, so I would go for a longer period of time. I don't know exactly what you have in mind, but I like that idea.
Is there agreement specifically about these works? I assume it is.
Yes,
It
it's
is.
about these 10
Each-
works, yes.
Each piece has its own contract. The city wrote the contract.
Yeah.
Right, and the
Is-
city will renew it. We're just,
But to your point about, some of the things here in the hallway that nobody gets to see either,
Do you still have
I'm just dreaming
shows?
that there's a rotation.
Do you still have shows?
we don't have exhibitions. COVID sort of killed
Right.
everything. And the studio artists scholarship exhibition is now at the museum, which is in fact a better place for it. Yeah, but we're looking at extending other works out into the community and moving things into the other hall, the name of which I now forgot, Kent Hall, and so on. So
We do have a
it's-
beautiful courtyard over there, Hadi, and I had the honor of playing there recently, and
Yeah.
it would maybe
Yes.
maybe we can celebrate this partnership with some sort of event outdoors, if
Great idea.
appropriate, or
Yes.
something.
Oh, what a
like
good
that.
idea to show, right, I like that. Okay.
Music provided.
Right.
Oh, I also don't want to miss the opportunity to also recognize and introduce Judy Norris, who is one of our Operation Picasso committee members, also a trustee of our Board of Trustees. Dr. Raymond Sims also sits on our Operation Picasso committee, Richard Amond, Fred Rothenberg, and of course it's been chaired by Barbara Hirsch. So I wanted to recognize all of our Operation Picasso committee members.
Well, thank you guys for tearing yourself away from your families and things to come talk to us tonight. We really are honored to have you, and you're welcome to stay or leave. But we will. It's our very next item is to take up the renewal of your contract here. So, thank you, Hadi. Barbara, thank you. Let's do that.
Well,
Christine, you're gonna lead us
shall I
through
lead
this
this
here?
as the chair of the committee?
Yes, please.
I think it's wonderful, and I think it's clear that the works have been well maintained. They will soon be, thanks to the lifting of COVID restrictions, available to the public to see. They're well taken care of. We can all agree that they're framed beautifully. The wall labels are consistent. The work looks beautiful. Frankly, my view is that I would extend the loan for a full 10 years for the reasons Barbara said, as well as for the consistency and importance of not moving work too often, and the fact that we don't have another place that we would prefer to put the work. It's different if there were another location vying for that attention, but the works look beautiful. I would like to see 10 years, but I think it would be appropriate for us to defer to the city, since the city has initiated and worked through the last agreement and will do this one as well. We could make a recommendation that we would go as long as they would deem appropriate. And so I'd like to make a motion, and my motion is that we urge the city to extend the loan for the term that they deem appropriate, not fewer than 5 years.
I'll second that. So let's discuss it. Let me go first with just, they've been such excellent stewards, you know, and I know that there's audience over there, even though there's COVID restrictions now. You know, when I think of our 5-year plan and connecting the community with the art that belongs to the community, I just keep thinking, wow, they're caring for it better than any of our other pieces. You know, wouldn't it be nice to have a rotation option in there, you know, to get, you know, if the poppy could be there sometime or something. I wonder if you can speak to that. But when you make it specifically about these pieces, and now you're talking about maybe a longer period, it might fit into our, this may be our museum, and it may be worth considering that there's options to rotate other pieces.
Well, CCC hasn't asked to rotate works other than the 10, and for the reasons I said earlier, continuity, consistency, good maintenance, I would recommend that we not undo those expectations by trading works in and out. I think there could always be the option under these loans, especially because, as Barbara notes, each one has a separate loan agreement, and I suppose we could work that out, but I think you're overly complicating things by suggesting that we take anything other than this universe of 10 in front of us.
I'm fine with the 10-year. I would, this is the business of art, so I would love to see the past loan agreement and possibly make amendments to it or not. But I would like for the commissioners to have the opportunity to review the agreement before anything is signed.
Can you speak to the process here? Like
Well,
someone reviews the,
right, I mean, we still have the mayor, and probably the mayor could speak to it as well, but it's the city that's that initiated the lease and that will be, the loan, and will be renewing the loan terms. I mean, I would agree that there's no reason for us not to know what those are, but I don't think it's material to the question of whether we think it should be renewed on the same terms it was initiated under.
Because the renewal, the artworks have changed because of the framing. I had some type of little understanding that if they were to be returned, that they would be returned in their previous existing frames. So I feel that with I would prefer to see it as a new agreement and to review it.
Betsy, if you're out there,
Yeah, I'm here.
do you have a
I'm
idea on the
happy to-
process here?
I'm happy to look into the issue if you'd like me to do that and get back to you.
Yeah, because we're here to serve you guys, and if you need our expertise or advice as the Arts Commission on the contract, but of course we'd like to see it, but you'll let us know.
Yes.
I mean, I think
And,
that
maybe Robin can jump in if you know anything.
I was just about to jump in. So our city attorney, of course, does review contracts and agreements. So if we make any changes, we will have it reviewed again to make sure that it's legally in good shape and, that it's clear. We will certainly, share it with the group as well so that you can see it. As far as creating it, that does really fall under the city umbrella. But if you have any high-level input that you want us to integrate in, we can certainly, look at that.
Well,
that's the
review it even
point.
if there's no changes.
That's the. I don't know why, and certainly I don't want to hold up this process, in part because the existing loan agreements are going to expire soon. We know that the city wheels grind slowly. We know that the city has already approved it, and as Robin notes, it's not our purview to change agreements anyway. Certainly, I agree with you, Valerie, that we should look at the agreement and know what its terms are, but I don't want that to hold up this process or in any way to alter my motion that we proceed.
When is the expiration date?
I believe it's May 5th. So we have just one more meeting, but more importantly, the city council has one, two, possibly two meetings. Now, of course, it could expire and be renewed, but, you know, much of my bread and butter relates to loans of agreements for museums, for foundations, and what I know is that when something expires, we've got to worry about insurance, we've got to worry about protection, we've got to worry about parties. There are all sorts of issues we don't want to have happen. We want the continuity, knowing that this has been a very good loan, and I hope will be a model for what we have earlier agreed we want to do throughout the community.
Beautiful. So the motion, do you have it in writing there?
Yeah,
you
can I get
just
some
read it again?
clarity on the motion? Because I think it was originally presented, Vice Chair Steiner, as the city deciding on a term of at least 5 years, but it didn't have a cap on it. Do we want to say 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 as the city sees fit, I think was your words,
Okay.
right? Christine?
I
Yes.
did say at least 5 as
Yes.
the city sees fit, but I like 5 to 10 as the
Mhm.
city sees fit.
Okay.
If our presenters.
Mhm.
Okay.
So if you were.
I will read it to you, that the city determine the extension of the loan to Community Memorial Hospital Continuing Care Center for an additional 5 to 10 years.
Mhm.
I wonder whether we should amend it to say that this commission urges the city to, yeah, I think we need a verb in there.
Nice. And it will.
And
this
urge is a
already-
good one.
And this is already an addendum to the original agreement. The actual pieces,
Well, the actual pieces are, there are 5 loan
Oh, fi-
agreements, and,
Barbara said that, yes, I got it, got it.
I mean, there were 10
Mm-hmm.
loan agreements.
We'll add the 10 pieces, we'll get specific in there.
All right, good.
Do we have a second?
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, okay.
Can I verify who was the second?
Wow, you guys
Smitty.
are great. Thank you for what you've done in the past and what's happening in the future, and I've connected everyone in this room in one way or another. It's just nice to see the community can get together about art. That's a lesson for everybody. Thank you.
I think Robin's going to get it from the city and get it to us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Barbara.
Was it okay if we jump around a little? I just want to take care of, while you're on a roll, Christine, I was going to let you go into your, let's go into C.
I think we should keep things in order
Okay.
only because we've seen from, I don't know, from the city council that people get mad when things go out of order.
All right. We spent a lot of time in capital last year, or in the last 2 years, to reduce the size of this commission to 5. It's my recommendation that we continue with 5 for now anyways, because we're in the middle of the strategic planning. We're in the middle of a lot of work that the 5 of us have kind of done together. And so for that continuation, I'm going to recommend and move that we advise the city that we're going to, for this year, request that we continue at 5 people. That's my motion.
I will not second that.
I'll second
You
that.
second that? All right. Discussion?
Yes, I'd like to discuss it. So it seems to be an open question. It's a request from our council. We had a visitor a couple of meetings ago, Wayne Maynard, who suggested that we consider 7. And my feeling on it is this. I think you are correct, Smitty, that we spent a lot of time determining the size of this commission before. And That made sense when all the other commissions were 5 in number. There was no reason for the Arts Commission to be 7 when others were 5. However, I felt strongly at the time the commissions went from 7 to 5, and I feel equally strongly now that a democracy thrives with the most participation. And I was not in favor of limiting participation by moving to 5. And in fact, I then, as merely a citizen, wrote a letter back, I guess it was in 2017 or 18, to the city council urging them to keep the numbers at 7 in support of wide participation. And so if the feeling of the council is to bring all commissions back to 7, I would urge us to also be 7. And if the council determines not, then we would remain 5.
I can provide a little bit of background on that, and I think what the council was thinking of when asking this question was, thank you, how do the commissions feel about it? They just really wanted to kind of get the pulse of each commission, and we're even open to the concept of maybe if some want to be at 7 and some want to be at 5, that's how we could move forward. But at this point, it's like, let's just hear from the commissions and see what they're thinking.
Pamela, you have?
Well, I agree with you, Smitty, that we've spent a lot of time honing this group to be a group. And I'd like to see us stay this group at least till the end of the year. I'm open to 7, but at the same time, I feel like we've really been in the trenches trying to get this strategic plan off the ground, and I'm not sure what another 2 people would add to that. And I see your point, Christine. I mean,
Sure. Is Valerie, you got an opinion?
I'm more for 7. I feel that we keep running into violating the Brown Act through the email exchange. So if we have an email exchange and it's forwarded to a third commissioner, and we're talking about business, we're violating the Brown Act. So I feel isolated that I could only speak to one other commissioner at a time. I would prefer to speak to 3 commissioners at a time. And I also feel that the commission needs more newness and more freshness, and I feel that bringing on 2 more commissioners would help that. Plus, we have so much to do. But besides that, I feel that I would prefer to be working and be able to communicate with 3 3 at a time rather just one-on-one.
Okay.
So I realize I spoke too long, and I did, but I just want to emphasize what Valerie said about a lot of work. We have a lot of work to do. This commission does a lot of work. Arts are very important in our community, and I think the more the merrier. I understand Pam's point and your point, Smitty, about the cohesion of our group, and so I realize there's a motion on the table, but I would amend that motion to say that we would stay 5 until we have presented our strategic plan to the city, at which point we then would consider extending to 7, and we defer to the city council's wisdom on
I
this
would
point.
accept that amendment, and I think we'll have consensus on that. Otherwise, I wanted to check in with Nigel, because I feel like, just as the chair, my kind of herding that I'm doing, and it's not just you guys I'm herding, and I don't want 2 more, I'm herding people on the phone too, as we go through our budget process and the strategic plan. And I feel like we have some good momentum to carry us. And when we come up with our final 5-year plan and present it to the council with our budget requests that will reflect the activity and our goals in that plan, we will need more bandwidth. And I would be open at that point to going to 7. But I guess it's to do that at this point. I would not vote in favor of 7 at this point. But I definitely, maybe we could just say through this fiscal year, because that will cover our budget. That's till June. Yeah, that will, and I might ask Betsy. Do you have any direction for us?
Well, I think that sounds very reasonable. And as Robin said, the council wanted to sort of take the pulse of the commissions and see how you feel. So sounds like a haiku, 575 or something. And, how many do you want? And I think that also it makes sense that you've been working together as 5 on this plan. So following through and then seeing afterwards how you feel.
Do you feel like you've gotten the feedback you need, or is this some action that you think we need to take here?
No, I think, the question is what would work best for you? How would all 5 of you work together at this point in the next year? And then after that, maybe you'll make another choice. So
I think I think you're you're hearing the consensus then. I would check in with Nigel, I think, before I'd vote on anything though. So we may table this actually as a vote and just, and I feel like we've shared with the boss now that we're going to try to get this done and make you guys proud of our plan and budget, and then we might want 9,
Right.
or we may
Well,
come
and
up with a committee structure of some type or something like that. But
leadership is collaboration. So it's all about working together and seeing what works for most of us.
here,
So
here.
Betsy, in terms of Smitty's suggestion to table it, I think that's reasonable because we do want Nigel's weigh in, especially
Right.
because he was so active as our former chair in helping to shape this group. From your perspective, is there any urgency to getting back to the council, or can we take that time?
Oh, please take your time. And of course, when you're in the middle of a 5-year plan, I think that this is a really good time to take a step back and be methodical. And then once again, whatever works best for you. And I hear you and Valerie saying that you have a lot of work to do. On the other hand, I hear 5 is more nimble than 7 at times. So I think ultimately I would defer to you because you, as a body, you are working together and to be as cohesive as possible. So, get back to us.
Good. And I spoke with James Vega just before the meeting tonight too, and I feel like you guys are really taking our pulse rather than looking for a commitment at this point. So
that's good.
we're going to keep on keeping on, and we'll look forward to working with the council. And
Well,
'cause I know-
we're grateful that you're doing that because there's a lot of work to do, and it's really fantastic to see you working together so nimbly. Appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm going to move along to item C. Conservation.
Yes.
There's nothing to, yes.
Yes, so let me jump right in. As you know, we have from time to time suggested proceeding with solving the many problems related to maintenance of our outdoor sculpture. And we agreed that the way to address that is to first have a professional assessment so that we have a baseline upon which to assign commissioners to sort of keep an eye out for those works that are in good shape with a baseline assessment so we understand what it is. B, to address any minor maintenance concerns because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And C, to address those problems that we currently know exist with certain of our works. So toward that end, we are now on step 2 of this multi-step process. The first step was to get a comprehensive, up-to-date, appropriate database, which Pam has taken the lead in doing and has completed. The next step was to get that out to conservation assessors in order to get a condition report on all of our works. And that's a very kind of narrow universe of people who can do that kind of work. At this point, we didn't want a high-level sculpture conservator, in part because of the cost and in part because we're looking at the comprehensive whole to determine baseline, as I said earlier. And I did, through my contacts, as well as contacting Nancy Escher, who's in town, who's a nationally recognized art appraiser, came up with 2 names. And of those 2, and both received the database. One has dropped out, and the other has come forward with a proposal that you have in front of you, and that's from Liza Shapiro of Cura Arts. And Liza grew up here in Ojai, and she has a successful company that does collections management, and as a part of that, she does some work for assessors, she does work for private collections, she does work for public collections, and she works with a conservator named Kamala Corbella, and together they have presented to us a extraordinarily favorable proposal where Cura Arts will both reduce its typical fee, but will also have both Liza and Camilla working together for the same one fee. And in the same way that Nusa Mal, because of her commitment to this city, gave us such a favorable proposal, Liza is doing the same thing because of her commitment to Ojai, the town she grew up in. So they're ready to sort of jump in when we're ready. They've evaluated the database and have made certain determinations. What I really like about the 2 people together is that there are times when you need 2 people. So someone has to get up on the ladder, someone has to hold it. If someone is pointing to, say, a pitting problem, the other person has to have the camera. There are so many good reasons to have 2 people, and for them to be able to sort of contribute 2 for the price of 1 is extraordinarily generous. So that is the proposal in front of you. This, of course, would have to go to City Council. In terms of budget, always budget. Betsy, are you hearing us? We're talking about budget. So
I love it.
there's currently merely $500 in the public art bucket right now, but that and that has to be spent by the end of the year, use it or lose it, but that $500 could be used to anchor this this project, and if you see on page 2, it says the project will be invoiced monthly by Cura based on hourly fees. It's a not to exceed $6,000. They guesstimate it to be about 5,600, almost 57, but an NTE 6,000, which I know from experience is extraordinarily reasonable for this size project, and it would be held with a deposit of $500. So we do have that money in the bank, in the budget, that we could hold this with. So I realize I went on and on, but I'm pleased to answer any questions.
Maybe we can bring a motion, and then, just for the record, and then we can do this during discussion,
Yeah.
because there's some things I want to ask
Yeah, okay.
Betsy, too.
Yeah,
since we're lucky to
that's a
have
good
her here.
point. So I would like to move that we proceed with Cura Arts to do our maintenance assessment, our condition report, and that we urge the city to adopt it.
Can I, while you're speaking and I'm speaking in your ear, so we don't have to like amend it, you and I had a discussion about, we don't have the budget for this. As long, can we make it such that, and you indicated to me that you think that they will be perfectly comfortable with making this refundable in the event that there is
Yes,
no
the
budget or
right.
approval
The-
from the commission or the council.
Right. The understanding would be that the 500 we would commit out of this year's budget would be refundable, and Robin will have you figure out what this motion should actually say, would be refundable if we're unable to go forward. And I trust we will be able to go forward, even if we have to break this into multi-years, because this is the first an important step to moving forward.
Let's get this, okay.
Oh,
You think
yeah,
you're good?
Yeah, okay.
I think so. Do you want me to read it back to you?
Yes, please.
We have the motion to proceed with Cura Arts for a maintenance, assessment, and condition report with a $500 deposit and urge the city to adopt. We can figure this out.
Yeah, per the attached,
Yeah.
whatever, proposal.
The only tweak I would make to that is condition report for public art, for outdoor public art.
So,
This is just the outdoor. This is just the, okay, I didn't know it wasn't, okay. This is for our public art, yes. Not our city collection. Okay, I'll second that. And discussion. Betsy, can I bring you in here just to kind of let you know where this is coming from? Part of our strategic planning, and you're going to see that we're going to be proposing that the Arts Commission is reorganized into 6 different areas, one of which is public art. And our budget requests, and one is communication, one is education, one is arts grants, one is technology, and the last one is health, commission health. And so our budget request this year is going to be divided into those lumps because they will directly reflect the kind of vision and goals that we came up with in our strategic planning sessions. So as part of all of that, our stakeholders, we have to do a assessment of everything that's like on our balance sheet right now. We don't really know, we have like the value of our assets of public art, the condition they're in, repairs that they might need. So for us to even move forward with a plan on public art, we're going to need to know what we have, what is its value, what is its need, who is responsible for maintaining it. I don't think I'm missing anything else. So that's, it has never been done. We've just sort of accumulated things over the years. There may be some treasures here that we don't know about, and there may be some clunkers that we don't know about as well. There may be some things that need a lot of money. I know I speak for Nigel when I say last year we returned $6,000 to the city for just that purpose of maintaining a piece of our art that's out there in the public. Let's call it that. What's a piece of art that's, but my point is, I think I can speak for Nigel that we need to see what we have before we can decide how to maintain it.
Right.
Do you
Yeah,
have any?
that makes total sense. Thank you for doing that. And I, I've seen at the museum, for example, all the art that's in storage. There's a lot of art in this town, so appreciate your diligence.
so I have a
Okay.
question.
Discussion.
A
Yes,
discussion. This is strictly a report about condition. It has nothing to do with appraisal or the value or repairing anything in the collection. And one of the thoughts that I have, and I'm supporting you on this, but one of my concerns about this proposal is how many, we're all sort of familiar with the collection. how many pieces do we currently have concerns about? I know that there's several that we are very concerned about, but broadly, there's 45 pieces.
Right, and that's why we need this assessment so that we can be told. So again, this is just step one, really step two. And then we're going to take that report and presumably we're going to put it into 3 buckets. The first is the one you mentioned, works that have absolutely no concern. And with those works, as I said earlier, we can sort of distribute responsibility for different commissioners to sort of look out for those. That's been suggested before, even as recently as a few meetings ago by Smitty, and it had been suggested at earlier commissions. So those works are okay. And then the ones we know need some conservation, maybe those are small treatment issues, and Camilla could potentially do those if we want to go out for that next iteration, because that's within her capabilities and profession. And then the works that we know are very significant problems will take effort and time far beyond what a conservator is going to give us or a condition assessor is going to give us. We're going to have to make certain determinations about what should happen to those, because under California law, the artist has certain rights, and federal law as well. The artist has certain rights, the building owner has certain rights, the city has certain rights. So for particularly difficult works, we're going to be spending next fiscal year unwinding those years of questions in order to get to the right result. But that doesn't affect this.
Right.
Now, to answer the second part of your question, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think that relates to valuation and to appraisal. So appraisers do, as I'm sure you know, very different kind of work from what condition assessors do. So appraisers will have to look at databases, they'll have to make certain determinations, they'll look at auction records, they'll look at other sorts of records, and that is a whole different process. I can tell you also that appraisers take longer than lawyers to get things done, and that's certainly my experience. And so I don't think we want to go down that road quite yet. Our urgency is getting a handle on our maintenance.
So one of my concerns is, for considering the size of our budget, this is a big chunk, and what kind of monies will we have available when we find out it needs to be repaired?
Sure. Well, right. Well, this is our kind of stake in the ground, both in terms of a relationship with people that can help us, and I mean, this is $100 sort of per item. I mean, it $120, per item. I mean, this is as a chunk, it's big. But I think if we can, as the motion states, if we can at least secure this relationship,
yeah.
and then our strategic plan is going to, our public art sort of master plan is going to reflect. Where do we focus our attention and budget requests? This is something that, even if there was no Arts Commission, I would hope that the city would do, to assess the assets that they have the same way they would assess what their vehicles are worth, because it's a public asset. So I think we're covered if we can, back out of this, or for budgetary reasons if we don't have that. I'm going to ask for this in public art in the budget. Okay. Yeah. So, Valerie, do you have some discussion?
Yes. 45, I would love to see the database, to see the 45 pieces that are in question.
I didn't bring it, but
It's
I
done,
did it.
yeah.
And within those 45 pieces, does that also include the pieces that are at the Ojai Valley Inn?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I know at least one of them doesn't exist anymore, which is the Fountain of the Four Sons, which was removed. outside
Say that again? Which one?
the Fountain of the Four Sons?
That's not on the list.
Okay,
Pam will get you the,
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
I created a database in a PDF with the images.
okay, so,
They have a client assistance section in here. Well, I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
So-
I'm wondering what we have and we're going to
so-
provide them, because that seems like the next step.
so when you look at $6,000, that is a big chunk, and I feel like we should take a little bit of a baby step. Looking at several of the public art pieces, we have direct contact with the artist. We socialize with them. They're our friends. The artist who created the pieces, they would be the best people to assess the condition, because they know the exact condition it was when it was new and how they created it and the materials that they used to create it. My suggestion would be to reach out to the artist and find the ones that would be available and willing to assess the pieces that we have in the public arts city collection. And then for the artists that aren't available, those are the pieces that I would put on a higher list for a outside assessor to come and do an assessment of. I also feel that it's important for a commissioners to be involved and be present during the assessment. Just to have extra ears, because not everything may not get into a report. And I think that by having a commissioner there when they're doing the assessment, they can point out, while the discussion's going on. And I just feel that if we're going to, that's all information. That's just all extra information. Why just have, I don't want to say an outsider, but it is an outsider, just go and do the assessment and then come back to report to us. We live here. And just like the Business of Bees sculpture that I just went to look at this afternoon to see how it held up in the rain, now the copper patina is coming down onto the Peruvian travertine stone and creating green smudges on the stone. And the calcite orange stone is completely faded now on both sides. If we have an assessor come in who hasn't looked at the sculpture when it was originally installed, they wouldn't know that this has faded. They may not know that green, they may think it's veining within the stone itself. So I feel it's really important, if the artists are available and willing, to have them do the assessment. And the works where the artists aren't available, those would be priorities to hire an outside person to come in, but also to have a commissioner present. And as far as funding, our public arts fund that we have over $125,000, I believe that those funds can be applied towards maintenance.
Okay, so, thank you, but
Thank you. No, I
I
don't know if there's a buts on this, but those are just her input.
if I may, please?
Yes, go ahead.
I respectfully disagree for many reasons. And I think in part you answered it yourself when you said we'd have an outsider. What we need is a professional people with experience, expertise, knowledge, and training to come in and give us an overall assessment. As I mentioned earlier, artists have certain rights under California law and under federal law, and so we don't want to look to the artists to give us an assessment. I agree with you, we want to consult with the artist. You raised that point at our last meeting, I agreed with you then. You will see in the proposal, page 1, that the condition report assessors request all current documentation associated with the collection. They're going to want to look at And we're going to have to ask Robin or Robin's successor to find those for us, but those will include archival images, they'll include the agreements, and where there may be certain questions, and certainly a professional conservator would be able to see that there may be certain oxidizing that's running onto travertine. I mean, that sort of goes without saying. So I think artists will, in short, artists will be included. I don't know why commissioners would be included. Frankly, I would not want to be. If I am sure that if you wanted to tag along as the professionals were doing their business, they would not object. But I don't think that this is a commissioner's purview, and in part because at the end of the day, we're going to get that report and we have to assess it, so we're still going to have input. So I hope I have answered your questions. And then your last question related to the Arts Fund. And yes, that would be available, but I have a strong view that in the same way we would look at our household budget. So if we're putting in a pot of money to save up for a new refrigerator, we're not going to rob that pot to do the annual maintenance on our HVAC system or to handle our water system or whatever it might be. We're going to use that maintenance money for ongoing maintenance rather than going into the big pot itself. And the problem we have here, and it's a problem created by the city, it's a problem created by prior commissions, our problem is that ongoing maintenance has not been done. Things have been kicked down the road, and we are now at the point where we do have to do this overall assessment, so we're back to a baseline.
Thank you. Under client assistance here, we're providing them, they're experts. I've looked at Liza's and Camilla's, background, and I would, what you say makes common sense to me, but they would be our third-party experts, and it works out to $126 per assessment. And if that involves the artists, they'll make that decision. If it involves commissioners, they'll make that decision. And if it, and in terms of the Arts Fund, we're gonna have our plan, and we're going to fund our plan. We're gonna find a way. That's the best way to do that. And certainly, the Arts Fund, city budget, donations, grants are all on the table in terms of how we support our public art. So I don't see any reason to change the motion as it stands. So I was just going to call for a vote then. So.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Steiner, seconded by Chair West. So Commissioner Freeman?
Can you read the
Yes.
motion, please?
Okay, to proceed with a contract with Cura Arts for maintenance and condition assessment of the city's outdoor public art pieces using $500 from the public art budget to, as a, obviously as a deposit.
Secure,
Secure
as a,
services.
yeah.
And while you're tweaking, I think it should say maintenance/conservation, so there's no confusion that they're going to be
Yeah,
doing anything but a report.
And maybe we refer to the actual proposal, because that's what it says, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Referring to their
so we will proceed
March
with
15.
the contract with Cura Arts for maintenance/conservation and condition assessment of the city's outdoor public art using $500 from the current budget to secure these services.
Let's refer to, can we refer to directly to their document? Because it says not to exceed 5681, it has everything in there, to their proposal dated March 15, collection assessment proposal.
And that will be included in the report to the
Yeah.
council. Okay?
Okay? You're doing a roll, or
Yes.
I'm
Okay, Commissioner Freeman?
I'm going to I'm going to say no, because I prefer the baby steps, so.
Okay.
I feel torn because I agree with baby steps, but I also know Liza is very qualified, and this is, I think that a consistent, solid report is needed. So I'll vote yes.
And Commissioner Chisholm is absent. Okay?
Are you doing? Did you get us?
Yes, I got you as the moved in the second, so passes. I will draft this up for council, and we'll get it on a future meeting.
This is your item? Okay. Yeah, just go ahead, Valerie. I don't know that we, yeah.
No, that's fine.
I
No,
don't
that's
know
why I
what the
voted
motion would be here. Or if
Oh, we
this
have to
is-
make a motion.
Well, you don't have to, but I wonder, but otherwise, I don't know why it's in the meeting, you know, I looked at what you had, and I didn't want this to turn into a working meeting on how to
Okay.
edit this, and my only other comment on it was,
I just,
it would be cool to run this through, some people that have applied, or maybe you know what, the one thing I hate is when you look at something from the government and it's like, has a misspelled word or it doesn't match it, or why are they asking for that? So,
Well, could I just go through?
Yeah.
Through my recommendations?
but we don't need to go through every step here, but tell me what your recommendation is,
So-
if there's a motion.
So the problem with going through the grant process this last time with, we had to extend the deadline for people to get in because there weren't hardly anyone submitted. And I feel that it's important to have the grant application available ASAP online. So once we approve the application, it could go up online, and artists, people who are interested could download the application, start collecting the materials, start thinking of ideas, and start to formulate how they're going to pull this application together. So, you know, most artists are right brain, they're not left brain. And paperwork and details is not their strongest gift. And so I feel the more time that we can give applicants to pull the materials together, the better the process for everybody. So on the first line where it says July 24th, 2023, to advertise availability of grant applications, I would make that as soon as as soon as we have the application online.
So what are you looking at? Do I have what you're looking at?
Yeah, it was in the, this,
It says draft. Oh, over here.
it was towards the back of the agenda. So, let me see, I think I may have it.
Sorry, I feel like Susan.
it's this one and towards the end.
I saw the picture of it, but was it on the one that
Here it
was,
is, here.
did the public see it?
Here, use Nigel's.
Oh, draft. Yeah, okay, I got it.
Okay, so for the first line, I just put ASAP. So, maybe make it, May, I don't know if the city could get it together by May,
Well,
the
let's-
application
ASAP is
online.
good.
You know, so, but if we were to do a calendar, I would say
Well, you
by,
want this up all year,
April.
right? You want it always to be available,
I would
thought.
love it always to be available, as long as the application
So there's
isn't
no
gonna
real
change.
No start time as to when it's available, right? It
Right,
just would always be
right.
available on the ASAP.
And the deadline would be,
And then,
Whenever it is.
and so if it's up there ASAP, then the announcement for optional grants workshops, rather than having it all the way in August, we can push that to May. So this way, we're teaching everybody how to do the grant thing, we're getting their feet wet, and then they have the summer to work on it. And then as far as the city, to have the grants submitted, I feel that the city probably doesn't want all the submissions to be coming in here and there throughout the year. I think it'd be a little hard to keep track of, maybe. So I would say submit June through September and have this, so that's when they could start submitting. So they have, several months to gather, take a workshop,
Is
put
this
it all
the
together.
completed applications?
So completed applications do, I don't know how the city would feel. Does the city want a window for the submissions, like a shorter window for submissions, so it's easy to keep track
We're the
of?
city here, so.
Well, from a staff perspective, I think the shorter the window, the better, and I think from a fairness lens, we want to make sure that nobody is looking at some before the other. So we would probably gather them, have somebody check and make sure they're complete, and then just kind of put them away safely until the formal deadline when you would get them all together.
So would it be realistic that applicants can start submitting in June with the deadline in September, or is that too big of a
May I
window?
ask, because we have a technology thing in our strategic plan too, and boy, is there any other commissions that do grants?
No, not that I know of. I think we're the one. We have a community services grant that the city does, and we're pretty far ahead because ours is online for the Arts Commission. We could make it more online. Right now we have a fillable PDF. It could transition to an actual online form. Even something as simple as using like SurveyMonkey or Cognito Forms. We could simplify it a little bit.
That's what I'm trying to head here, so it isn't something we have to do every year, it's just something that's done every year.
Right, but as far as like the window, what would be, how many months of a window? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months?
1 month sounds good to me, but it's really a
1 month?
commission decision. But as far
Okay.
as, even for people to think about, okay, this is when I submit my grants, I think you're going to get more involvement if we shrink it down a little bit.
Okay, so my only concern is August is, I know for me, it's like go away month, vacation month for August. So that's why could we do like, they could start submitting in July? Okay, so we do have a window July through September for the window for applications to be submitted?
I have a question about that. If it's a jot form or some type of online application, is it possible that we don't need the 5 copies or,
Yeah.
Right.
maybe
I
it's
hate
something
that.
that we
CDs.
ask, the staff
CDs.
doesn't have as much to go through. If it's an online thing, the data's collected and it just sits there until we're ready.
Yeah, so if we do that, my concern is to do a completely new format for this 2023, 2024. That's going to take time to develop. And that may be something to do for 24, 25.
I don't think it's that hard. I mean,
But we have, a change of things going on here,
What
so.
you could do to make this happen, because I think we cleaned it up a lot this year, and I know it's very cumbersome, but it was
That's
more
what we
cumbersome
have here.
before.
The
Yeah.
next- Yeah.
So if the commission wanted to go through and look at what do you think we don't need in here, and just really redline it, keep the basics, and then hand it back to
So
staff.
this is our current one, this is not your edits, Valerie, on the grant snapshot and everything here.
So anyway, so just with the calendar, so
Valerie.
does the calendar look okay for, if we have it available ASAP, we announce the grant workshop in May, and we have the grant submitted. If they could get it online, then that's fine, but if we can't get it together, I would like to see the grants application available as soon as possible. And if this new format could be done as soon as possible, that's fabulous. But if not,
What's different here from what we currently use?
I'm just doing step by step. I'm just on the calendar
But
right
is
now.
Is this our current,
Are you looking at the calendar?
look at draft, yeah.
Yeah, so basically the only,
Is this all new work, or is this currently, or?
this is the 2020, I don't know who put this together.
So this
is from
last
Robin.
year's that we
Okay,
made
I
into a
got,
fillable form.
I'm clear.
Okay.
Well, I think it might be a good idea, I mean, if I might just, because I remember we had a speaker here. We had a couple people, during our grants presentations, they were actually here. And Nigel asked them, it may have been Raymond, in fact, what was the process like? And, it would be cool, I think, good to pull in a little team here, if you wouldn't mind leading it, because you're already on top of this. And get the input from our actual artists or people who apply for grants, and maybe get maybe do a quick check-in with a sister city. We have several arts commissions that we've talked to in the past about how they, maybe even other grants organizations. I don't know, I'm trying to, rather than us to like solve it here, like this is the best timeline, this is the best process how to do it.
Well,
There may be a software that does grant application, I'll bet there is.
I'm thinking just because, we need to get going on this. And I think as far as redoing all that, I think that's good for next time around. But this time around, we need to have this done.
Well, the new
Now.
strategic plan has a whole grants division.
Right.
Is what I'm calling it. And
So-
I want every division to have its own sort of, like a grants, plan.
Right,
and
right.
It will include communication and education. I love this idea of the grants workshops, we can help artists do better just by telling them, how to frame their type things. I think it's brilliant, but I don't think we're going to solve that here tonight looking at this.
I just wanted to lock down the timeline so we could get the application online.
Right, well, for now, let's use what we have.
Yeah,
And go by that.
Yes.
But I guess I'm looking to you for the future and in our
Yes, okay.
strategic plan. Let's have our grants division, that's the words I'm using for now, are going to have their own plan, and it will involve technology, it will involve education, it will involve outreach.
Valerie, I agree with you about ASAP, but I think this could be really resolved quickly with a form, creating an online form that's able to be filled out. And it shouldn't be that hard. And I'm willing to help if that's.
okay. Well, as long as we can do that timeline, so, to
Yeah.
keep that timeline, it's fine with me. And as far as the 8 copies, I think that's because there were 7 commissioners. So 1 for the city, and so that could be 6 now, right? 6 copies unless you do an
But I
electronic.
think an electronic.
Electronic
I mean, we've done
form.
it with OSA, so.
Oh, okay.
With applying for things. So I think maybe taking the model from the Ojai studio artists of how we accept new members, that's a process that just went completely digital.
I
Okay.
just don't want you guys to rebuild something that
No.
is going to
No.
be rebuilt again. And
No,
so,
no.
I talked to James, the manager tonight, about that one of the divisions of the Arts Commission is this Commission Health. And what I mean by that is we need help. And I asked him, like, sort of what are the ideas, or how do the other commissions use a secretary position, that sort of thing. So I want to be able to, this is the kind of thing that could have I'll bet he told me that the big cities have a full-time position even just for the grants, and somewhere that he worked as
Many.
well. Yeah.
Many do.
But
Right.
our application's very simple right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
right, and I don't want to make it like a little, I don't want to make it a lot of work and then go completely with an online thing. Like, I'm wondering, like, the Women's Club, who else does the big grants in the
the
city?
Ojai Women's Fund,
A
that's
women's
done
fund.
online, yeah. That's
Okay.
submitted online.
Rotary
Okay.
Club does education grants.
I mean, it's saving
I think
a
they
lot of
use
paper.
paper.
Of
you know.
I
course.
think they're still doing paper, but I'll bet
No,
San
the
Francisco's
Ojai Women's
not.
Fund is submitted digitally.
And that would make it easier for the applicants too.
Get that copy,
So, just tiny little notation to make on page 1 of 6, the very bottom. For individual artists, applicants only, the very bottom line, a copy of the most recent W-9. It should say add in from fiscal receiver, a copy of the most recent W-9 from fiscal receiver.
Good
So
point, yeah.
that needs to go in there. And then on page 3, item number 4, where it says grant snapshot, project start date, in parentheses, it says projects must occur within calendar year 2022. So that needs to be changed to 2024. And then on page 4, item number 8, indicate all sources of matching funds. This is a keynote that I think that we would have more applicants if we had the matching funds be recommended or optional rather than mandatory. So I'm wondering if we could just put in parentheses where it says indicate all sources of matching funds, optional, highly recommended. So grant applicants don't feel it's mandatory to have matching funds. But we could, the grant applicants that we receive, we can use them as a priority because they have matching funds.
Yeah, you guys can take that up when you're when you're working
But
it
do
all
we
together.
need to agree on that?
No, I want you guys to bring me what you come up with.
You agree with that? Okay. Okay, and so that's basically it, so if we can
Thank
move
you.
forward with that, that would be great.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And please involve Ray or someone like that, that has been through the process. And I have as well. And we should not be asking for CDs, or 8 tracks.
Shall we go forward with a motion?
What is it?
Shall we go forward with a motion that you will lead the effort?
Well, I don't think we need a motion.
consolidate?
Just, this is a committee, and I want you guys to come back with.
But if we do a motion, then it's in the minutes, right? So we should do a motion?
No, I don't think we need a motion. Just,
Okay.
yeah, let's work. I think
Okay.
we're,
I'm sorry to interrupt, Smitty. I have to leave and I'm really apologize. Can I
thank you,
just say a
Betsy.
big thank
Do
you?
you do you have a 10-second statement for us?
Well, a lot of gratitude and appreciation for all your hard work. So thank you, Pamela, Christine, Valerie, Chair Smitty, Nigel in a different time zone. And it's just really beautiful to watch you work and on your 5-year plan and then Operation Picasso and the public art, taking care of all those, we walk by it all every day. So thank you for keeping our city beautiful and the grants program. So I'm just really in awe of all of you. So thank you. And thank you for spending so much time on this because I know how much work it is. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Bye.
Good night.
Okay.
Okay, Christine, you're going to lead us on the art advisor thing, and Robin had something there too. But, yeah.
Thank you. So now we're on the next page of our
Art
agenda.
advisors.
So, art advisors. So this is it's not an urgent matter, but it's a lingering matter. The city maintains a list of art advisors, so those entities that have public art obligations, they have to consult with an art advisor, and the city had a list of possible art advisors. I looked over that list. Some people are deceased, some people are retired, some people are now doing different kinds of work. And so the list is hopelessly out of date. So we want to update the list so we're able to help our applicants for the public art project. I had
Is this
given.
specifically for,
This is
public art?
specifically for public art.
Not
Now, of
murals
course,
or-
other people can use it for, a variety of purposes. All of our resources can and should be available, but this is expressly for the percent for art where there is a public advisor obligation. Now, you raise a good point. I think the mural ordinance also has an advisor component, but in different context, and mural people may or may not be public art sculptural people. So let's put that aside for a moment. We can address it down the road. I gave to Robin something that came from the city of West Hollywood that I now can't find in my materials and Robin can't find in hers.
I did find it. It was a hard copy. That's why we couldn't find it. We were looking at our emails.
Hard
I
copies,
did not bring
who
it with me, but
knew?
you have it.
Right, beautiful. So,
But we don't have anything here.
And the city of West Hollywood, on which that is modeled, has a very large, very well-funded public art program with a lot of people working in that department as employees. So it's not a perfect analogy, but it will be good enough that we can use it to solicit interest from art advisors who want to be on our list.
And it's an online thing? I'm sorry.
Well,
But there was a
well, it
request
would
for
be-
applications to become an advisor, or how does it work?
Yes, we're going to reach out, and we can do it in a variety of ways. We can put an ad in the Ojai Valley News, we can put it on the website, we can put it out in the Public Art Network, which is sort of a group of art advisors who do public art stuff. We can very widely advertise in order to solicit interest in who wants to be an art advisor to the program.
But we don't have anything today to,
No,
vote
we're
on, or-
just, what we're doing is discussing outreach strategies, which would include advertising, and then also providing direction to staff, which is for staff to, and for me to work together to come up with a list.
okay. And there may be a model, but we don't have anything to look at here right now from
Right,
West
so I took a
Hollywood.
look at it and I thought what you thought. I thought, oh my gosh, this is so big and
Yeah,
complex.
it's
and we're looking for something a
cumbersome,
lot
right.
smaller,
We'll,
but-
we'll make it simpler, but just,
Happy to take a
just
stab
to,
at it.
great, just to reach out for interest.
I have a question. Is this for a paid position, or is this to
No.
be part of CAPA?
Well, it's not CAPA, so CAPA is its own committee, but you haven't hit the bullseye, but you're in that next ring. And that is, under our ordinance, the building owner has to either put money into the pot or do their own commission. So where they do the latter, their own commission, they have to engage an art advisor. And they pay for it. So we need a list of good, knowledgeable, current people, so when, Mrs. Building Owner calls because they have this public art obligation, they don't look at our list and then are told, I no longer do it, or they go down the list and the person, the phone is disconnected and whatever it might be. So we'll
They
get
say
them.
my
we'll
neighbor
get them-
told me to buy this.
Right,
She advised me.
right. So we'll get our good people.
And that cost can be paid from their 1 or 2%.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with us, but it is our obligation to.
Okay, good. Well, maybe in next meeting, or let us know for an agenda item if and when we have some process for that.
Well, I think all we have to do is get the list together and put it on the website, put it in the materials, because all we're doing is updating a list. So-and-so is
I mean, but
dead,
how are
but
you gonna-
so-and-so can do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all we're doing. Yeah, I don't think we have to come back
We're
with
not-
any
it's not a
formalized
RIF,
process.
Because there was some RF something.
Yeah, well, we
RFQ.
definitely, right, we definitely want to do that. We want to go out with our, requests for interest, whatever we might call a relatively,
Could we
Let's
create
do
a
it.
form letter that we send out to different people?
sure.
We don't
could
know
be
who
a-
to send
Yeah,
there,
could
yeah,
be a form, well, Robin's
For information?
going to, it's in Robin's hands,
Okay.
and she's done it before, and she knows what she's doing.
I will work on that next week, on taking what West Hollywood has, really simplifying it, making it appropriate for Ojai, and then handing it back to, I'll email it to all of you so that you can use your expertise to distribute to the people who will be
Well,
most
let's,
interested.
let's first, you'll give it to me, you and I will refine it, and then we'll get it out to
Yes,
the commissioners.
good, okay. Pamela, you're gonna,
Yes,
do we have is there gonna be a motion here?
I think so.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think so.
we'll go,
So, hi.
maybe if you can kind of
I will.
prep us with the motion,
Okay.
then we'll have discussion, yeah.
So I guess my motion, and then I'll go into details about it. My motion is to create a 3-part series of enrichment seminars, enrichment seminar that consists of 3 different seminars. One is grant writing, the other is copyright and patenting law
And contracts.
in contracts. And the third one is social media and best practices. And the idea behind this is to teach our to find ways for our creative community to look outside of the city of Ojai for funds and for ways to get their projects done. And then to understand copyright law and contracts. And then finally, social media marketing and best practices is how to get those events publicized so they can become successful. So
Cool,
getting
cool,
the money for it.
Let's get the motion right
Okay.
here.
So the motion is,
And maybe I can help you, but remember, we're talking about calendar year to do
Yes,
3.
yes.
Yeah, but one would be.
In May.
In the current fiscal year, because we have funding already.
Yes.
For that, under education. But so the motion is
Okay.
that,
I would like to get them done by the end of the fiscal year. So I have three,
It's not going to happen. By the end of this fiscal year?
yeah. Well, I have something in place for grant writing in May,
Perfect.
and would like June for the next one.
For
And,
social media?
yeah,
Yeah, so for full disclosure, I said that I would, and totally gratis, do the copyright and contracts component, but I can tell you I cannot do it in June.
okay.
if we
Unless
can.
it's the last
And I
week
think
in
it'll
June.
fit better with the budget too, and the strategic plan, you know what I mean? It's gonna have a
Yes.
big education thing, because I'm gonna be asking for money for this.
Okay.
That we can, but we want to move ahead. So
Okay,
I
so
feel
let's
confident we can.
do one.
We can do one
Okay,
with the plan to do 3 this year.
Okay.
That we do enrichment seminars. We have a plan to do 3 enrichment seminars. Is this a
yes,
correct
under
language?
art
Enrichment
under art education.
seminar? But is it called enrichment seminar? Is that the
I'm
one?
calling it enrichment seminars.
Enrichment
Yes.
seminar.
Professional enrichment seminars.
Yes.
Can-
At least one to be held this fiscal year within the budget that's already been approved.
Perhaps the way to do it is to have all 3 within the calendar year,
Yes.
never mind fiscal year. So if Pam is ready to do one within the fiscal year, I mean, our
just-
audience doesn't care
It just
about,
needs to be subject to the
fiscal
budget,
year.
though, budget approval.
right.
for the-
Yeah.
So the others would be under the next, and you'd
And in a
you'd
month,
make
I'm
sure.
hoping we'll have our budget, so,
Right.
but if you want to do something tonight, I would do it that way.
Okay.
Can I add something in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
So the Ojai Community Farmers Market has given the Arts Commission a booth if they want for Earth Day to do a cultural arts Chumash workshop. And so I was wondering if we could put that in as a enrichment seminar, because that would be April.
So what I had in mind, I'm not saying no, but what I had in mind is that these would be professionally geared enrichment. The booth that you're talking about is a creative booth, right?
I see it as cultural arts, and like a professional seminar, would fall under that.
So what I'm looking at here, or what I ideated, was something to make our creative community more professional. and that is enrichment. The Shumash workshop is enrichment, but it's a different kind of enrichment
So
than what I
you're
was
thinking of classroom seminars,
Yes.
essentially?
Yes.
And that, it sounds like
Which
that's
topic
very
was first?
different from.
Grant writing,
Grant writing.
yes.
We can go ahead and just do our grant writing seminar and
Okay.
organize it and plan it and pay for it without any motion right here.
Okay,
But I can tell you that as we've discussed, that the strategic plan, as it applies to education, is going to have a 3 per calendar year
And I love
enrichment
the idea
program
of
for
having-
artists and art lovers.
and I want to say, I love the idea of having more enrichment and more workshops and more fun activities in the community. I think that's super important. I think that is a part of arts education. But for this specific one, I'll make a motion for a grant writing seminar to be held before the end of the fiscal year.
Perfect. I
Okay.
second that.
Let's do that.
Yeah, I second.
Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, yeah, good. And then, if you have an idea with your
Yeah.
birthday thing, go to
That's art
Pamela and-
education,
Yes.
that's under
So-
art education,
so-
and go for it.
So we.
But
our-
just see
our-
Pamela on the side about, let's not do that right now.
But we would need it because we would need funding for
We
it.
have funding if, she knows how
So-
much funding she has.
But I feel that with the haiku thing that wasn't discussed, I feel it's important that we discuss this.
You give your presentation.
And so,
But it's
So-
not on our agenda here. I really think this is the kind of thing you need to collaborate with Pam on, how
Well-
the education program. Haven't you guys actually met on this?
well, we discussed it over the
Grants,
phone, and
yes.
I submitted a proposal to her, and,
So I was going to say, hold on,
okay.
I'm interrupting you for just a second, because on the agenda, professional enrichment seminars for the art community, this is an enrichment workshop that she's proposing. It's not the one that I was proposing, but it does fall under the category of what's being discussed, I think.
It does. And actually, the grant writing thing came from literary arts, so it was kind of like working together on that, and I feel this is similar too. So the on Earth Day, April 20th, from 3 to 7, Julie Gerard from the Ojai Community Farmers Market is offering a booth for the Arts Commission to have a cultural and educational enrichment workshop, which would be the Shumash Arts. And Julie Tumamite Stensley would be interested in hosting that table, and she would be doing Shumash arts. One is elderberry whistles, and the other is acorn necklaces. Usually she gets about 50 to 60 students per workshop, so those are 2 workshops, so we're looking at about 120 people attending the workshop. And I asked, and she said that she needs helpers at the table because things walk off, and to help all these people that are interested. And she said for facilitators, supplies, and helpers to be $500.
Yeah, this sounds like an Earth Day Julie Tumamai thing. If Julie, she knows if she wants
It's an arts, it's an arts.
She wants a grant, we have a grants program.
Well, no, it's an Arts Commission booth.
Well, it's
just
not
like-
yet.
Just like,
Yeah, this feels a bit like how haiku sort of came about. Can you walk us through it again? So I understand that Julie said the Arts Commission can have a booth. That's great. But then how did we get from that to Julie doing a workshop for 120 people? And how, I don't see the dots connected.
okay, so the dots connected is we have all this money, close to $2,500 in arts education that needs to be spent by June 30th.
No, that should not drive what we do.
So it
don't
drives,
start
it,
with that.
for me, to be a successful commissioner is to, when we ask the city council for funds, is to, and a certain amount, that we have a plan on how we're going to spend that, because the arts, it's the arts community, it's our community that is, the city is setting aside money for the arts. And I feel as a commissioner, it's my responsibility to be a successful commissioner, to use the money wisely and to give it back to the arts and the community. I will feel very, personally, I will feel very hurt that on my watch, on our watch, that we are not fulfilling our obligation to work hard to bring the arts to the community. And I feel that, so anyway, so when we've got the budget and there's $24.50 for arts education, we have the grants workshop, which would be probably about $750. So there's extra leftover money. We did discuss at the 5-year strategic planning meeting, bringing up the culture and heritage, and the Shumash, and I feel, and so I had reached out to Julie Tumamite to see if there's any workshops in the future.
This is what I'm trying to get. I don't disagree with you, and I think we all share that sense of responsibility, both to ourselves as commissioners and to the community. What I am simply seeking to understand is how we got from point A to point Z. So this is the first time I've heard about Earth Day. It's the first time I heard about a Shumash workshop, and you just said we would do whatever. I just don't, everything else we've discussed today has come before us a number of times, including the art advisors, including the assessment report, including seminars. This seems to have come out of left field, and as did Haiku earlier, and I just want to understand how we got here so that we can responsibly determine whether we should be committing funds for this or whether, as Smitty said, it's more appropriate as a grant matter.
Okay, so I believe the August meetings, September meetings, several meetings, I have spoken about Earth Day and about having an artist do something for Earth Day. I mean, the Earth Day is not new.
We're talking about haiku at Earth Day.
Well, I don't, if you go back and listen to the tapes, there was discussion of bringing in artists, environmental artists, to do something for Earth Day, something educational. Just like with the grants, when I had the idea for the grant writing workshops, I reached out to Pam. I had someone that I had found who would be good. She had someone who was interested who could possibly facilitate, and we discussed that and then brought to the commission. Yes, this is new, but it's within the art enrichment program. We have art educational funds for it. And I reached out to Julie to see if she would be interested in doing any future workshops through the Arts Commission, just like we are going to have grant writing workshops and other type of professional seminars. So I reached out to her, and she said that she's going to be doing the blessing at Earth Day, and that she could do a workshop that day, and but she doesn't have the, she would need resources for helpers and for supplies. And I contacted Julie Gerard about a booth for the Arts Commission to see if that would be possible. And she said, yes, and so just connecting the dots, and I'm presenting it to you.
Okay.
And so here we are.
But I have to say, I feel a little hijacked here, because
I feel blindsided.
I was talking about this proposal for 3 seminars.
Yes,
I opened it up to you because I thought, okay, you're.
I'm gonna take
Okay,
over,
so it's
'cause I'm in charge of
something
the
for-
meeting, just
Okay.
because our strategic planning, absolutely, our Chumash culture, absolutely, our environment, absolutely, supporting our artists like Julie. I've done this with her and donated flutes and stuff, and it's a really, really important thing. But it's just the way we're going to do business on our meetings here is we're going to stick to our agenda items, and it's very clear what you're, I'm interrupting you from
Right.
saying here too, is that what was on the item, you know? So
Right.
if you know, and I don't want to, especially don't want to get into this in public about an Ojai treasurer. It sounds like we're not supporting her, you know. So this is just not the way to bring things to the meeting. You won't get the votes here anyway.
Okay, well, I apologize, when I saw enrichment, you know, I've, in the art education, and we're on a timeline for the
Take that
funds.
energy you have, Valerie, and work with Pam, and let's make this stuff happen and support our artists and our culture and stuff like that. Right?
Right.
But this, it would be irresponsible of us to just take something which beautifully looks like a grant and turn it into a last minute thing because we have the money. I don't want, that's not how we want to represent
And Earth Day's in
ourselves as the
April, though.
community.
It's
We-
actually on the
You
day
know,
of our
if you
meeting.
guys decide they're going to donate a booth, and it could be an arts commission booth, and, you know, bring that to the,
Well, our commission meeting is on April 20th, which is the day of the event, so we will not
well,
have
but there-
another
but there-
meeting.
there's, not everything has to be done by you know, an action, a vote too. You know, we do have discrepancy, discretion within our budget, and Pamela knows that.
Or we can have a special meeting. I
Oh,
just,
okay.
Valerie, I feel really strongly, and I'm emphasizing what Smitty said. We have a certain process, and we have to stick with the process, and we don't like surprises, and we like to all play together with the same objective. And I think we harm our artists, we harm our city, and we harm ourselves when we don't all work harmoniously within that process.
Okay, so we could call a special meeting then
So
to
don't,
do that?
I'm
or-
not saying that
Okay.
either, I'm just saying,
Okay.
but don't take it personally.
No, I'm not, no,
Well, you
no,
said
and I
you were gonna take it
apologize, and I
personally.
completely
So
understand.
we're trying to do our job too, okay? Thank you, thank you. We have that motion too. Commissioner updates,
Did we pass Pamela's motion?
yes,
No, we didn't vote.
oh, I thought we did,
No,
all right,
I seconded it.
okay,
all right, I'm in favor.
okay, thank you.
Are you, Pamela?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
Yes, okay, good.
thank
Can we
you.
start over again on who made the motion?
I made the motion
Okay, that's what I thought.
to,
And you seconded,
Okay.
okay.
And you know the motion that it's just in the
Yes.
fiscal year, the one, and then.
Yes. Okay.
All right, and from now on, we'll do our commissioner updates, and if you have anything else,
Commissioner Freeman, did we get a yay or a nay on that motion? Okay.
yes. I will report on a couple things.
Don't I get to go first?
No. Oh, I see, because it's there.
Linda says I do.
That's why I keep this over here. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, I have no update because both public art was addressed by the conservation report, and the city collection matters were addressed by the hospital matter. Thank you.
You guys attend the appreciation event next Thursday.
yes,
Just do it. Just do it, all right? This is part of the new Arts Commission, is that
And
we support.
wear your badge.
Look at this, wear our badge, all right. Chair. Thank you, and by all means, these,
they stick.
well, no, it should be compensated. I mean, because I was ready to buy them, so, don't be, thank you, Pamela, it's
My
beautiful.
pleasure.
And just, we got another one coming up. Nigel is, I'll speak for him, and he was not ready to present the awards, but I got all of your nominations in. Appreciation event, your Form 200 is due this month, 700, did you guys get notice of that?
Yes.
Okay, your commission appreciation, what was it? No, I wrote that twice. What else was I gonna say? All right, strategic plan. I have created a Google document, which is a shared document. I've taken all of your inputs, and the format it's taking for the strategic plan, the format it's taking is an outline format right now. So I I'm taking our 7 divisions, you know what I'm talking about there, and with each of those, there's a plan as well. There are some goals, but there was low-hanging fruit. There were some specific goals, like 3 seminars that we've already completed. You know, we already have things to celebrate and all too. And and then it drills right down to a lot of detail. For the executive summary, we'll probably pull it up to, you know, Roman numeral 1A and B maybe, or something like that. But within that index, you'll see that within those bullet points, you'll, I think, see everything that will set our actual goals and the 5-year plan that we'll present to the council. On the bigger picture, the more descriptive narrative thing that Pam's kind of heading the creation of, I think it will take this format of these circles that I've seen in a couple of things, this why we do what we do, how we do what we do, and then what we do, okay? And I think that is the format that will incorporate all of your inputs as to, you know, what is our vision, what are our values, what is our mission, that sort of thing. So on the document that you'll see, you guys have, you'll see some cut and paste from everything that you've put in there. I've also put in there some things from San Mateo, from San Francisco, from Oxnard, some other sort of like verbiage ideas and that sort of thing. Now, each of you has the ability to go in and just directly type any ideas that you have, and then they'll appear as comments with your name next to them, all right, so that you'll be able to view anyone else's comments as well. City, I'll give, you have access, I sent you a link, but, you know, we'll make Kiara that too. And I kind of want that to kind of be our model for how we create a centralized collection for our public arts, for our stakeholders, for our artists in the community, the other databases that you guys are working on as we're kind of like measuring what's out there. So it'll be that too. So you have that to look forward to. I will email you a little link to it so you'll know what it is. And you'll be able to get right in there and just make a smiley face, but it'll say Valerie Freeman smiley face is what it'll say, you know, and then we'll consolidate and pull that together. But I think if we do it this way, we'll be prepared by budget time for which we have a 1-month extension on, which we just started, until so that we can report at least executive summary 5-year plan to the council. And I've been going to meetings, just waving high, warning them how great we love each other and how hard we're working and how important art is, and warning that, you know, you gotta, you're gonna pay for it, yeah, right. Because our people want this, and it's good for our people in the community. That's my report. Who's next? Valerie.
Well, I don't really have much more to report, but I did receive an email that a fellow Ojai studio artist passed away yesterday. Gail Hersher, and she was in the mentor program here, and she was a mentor to a student, and so just knowledge.
Mentorships, yeah. That's one of the 7 divisions, you know, and it needs a little plan in there too. And I was a mentor, and so was Julia too. So it was powerful. Let's get a mentor as a presenter, a mentor-mentee team from the past to talk about, you know, how fulfilling. I think that would be a nice thing to do.
And also Jennifer Jordan Day, she's on the board of the Ojai Museum Gallery Committee and on the board of the Film Society, and she's interested in coming and doing a presentation in May or June, if that would work out.
Very cool. Make a little outline of that and, you know, send it to us, you know.
I think someone should be in charge of regularly inviting 2 people. We've got no one in our audience, and that's the way we generate. So that would be great. I love Jennifer.
I think I have
It'd be great to hear
twisted
from her.
your arm on that, didn't I? Didn't I twist your arm to be that person? Right. I'm just afraid to say it in public.
I'll send you recommendations.
All right. So,
Okay.
Pamela.
Just an update, I created a database for our city collection and for our public art collection, which Christine used for soliciting Liza and others, and putting together these seminars. So that's my update.
Thank you. As far as future agenda items, I want to just say that our plan and our budget are the items that need action on. And these are important enough that I want to let these things drive our next meeting. So it'll probably be a special meeting. I'm not going to try to fit a calendar, but I want to do these as soon as possible. You know, if I would do it tomorrow if I was ready. We're not ready for that too. So my future agenda items are the budget and the plan, and that'll probably be a special meeting just for those two things.
Just a side note, I'm going to be out of town from April 1st to the 9th.
If we can't have a quorum, we won't have the meeting. That's that's why I want it to be special.
Okay.
But
I'll get you my calendar. So we'll all get Smitty
Good.
calendars.
But really, the first things I want you to do is go stick your nose in my plan, because I don't want to miss anything, because that's going to drive my budget.
And you sent us a link
request.
to that?
Yes,
Okay.
I will send it tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, I shared it with the co-chair this afternoon. I'll share it with you guys and Nigel tonight. Staff liaison, Ms. Godfrey.
So we have public art, project subject to public art requirements. There are a couple of new pending items on there, Ojai Lavender Inn. One that you will want to pay attention to is El Roblar. We did provide them with an extension, and I know that we feel like they can take the time they need. Sorry, I don't like to again. They can take the time they need, but they are getting close to being ready. Somebody will want to connect with them. I think the CAPA was assigned before the transition of leadership, so
When? Connect when?
when do they want to meet, or when was the CAPA?
I'm sorry, it's talking about staff or commission?
Commission.
Okay.
So the CAPA will need to meet with El Roblar
Right.
and to look at
We'll
their
coordinate directly with
application.
Christine on that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're close.
Oh, I have a question for you. I ran into
Kappa.
ex-Commissioner
Well.
Christine Golden,
Yes.
and she mentioned, what were we doing with the Parks and Recs Kappa? And I don't know anything about that.
No, that hasn't come to the surface yet, but the Parks and Recreation they are building a field and doing a lot of work out there. When they get the engineering plan and it starts to go through our formal processes, then it will come onto this list and it will get evaluated, and then we'll know. They're probably going to go above the $300,000 threshold, so they probably will qualify, but they're not in the system yet.
I
not
knew
in the
nothing
pipeline.
about it, so.
Yeah. Okay, so that is what we're looking at with public art. I just want to make sure that El Roblar doesn't fall off the radar when I
Yes.
move along, and I will talk to. Okay. Oh, you know what I did not include? I did not include the public art budget item that is always in here. There are no changes to it, but
Okay.
I will email it to you just so you all have
I
it
got
for
it.
this month.
Oh, I got the.
No, but what we do have in its place is the Art Commission budget worksheet. This is just looking at what we've spent to date, what we have in place. You have not spent much money. I do believe that, I just learned this. I'll pass it to Kiara, but when I make copies for you, I'm supposed to charge it to your account. I have not done that, so you have a little bit more money there in that account. But moving forward, there'll be just,
We have a
tens of
copy, our
dollars.
copy budget.
You have a copy budget, and
can
there
use
is a
that for
copy
Earth Day.
code that we enter for you. So we will do that properly moving forward.
Are you going to back charge us, or you're,
No.
okay.
Yeah. I have no idea what I've copied for you at this point, but moving forward, we'll do it correctly.
I'm going to hire a scribe to hand copy.
Well, or we'll do mostly online. It's the old thing of don't buy a frappuccino every day and you can buy a house. I'd rather not have hard copies, and I'd rather see stuff online.
Yeah. I am with you. Arts Commission Budget Report, miscellaneous items. Our new website is going to go live on April 5th. So that's the date it will get out there to the world. I am working over the next 2 weeks to get the base content in the sites. I know we've talked about this before, and I think most of you had a chance to kind of get a glance at what the Arts Commission subsite is going to look like. It will be accessible through the old URL. I believe it was Arts Ojai or Ojai Arts. ohaivalleycommunity.org. And it will also be part of the city site. So you can go to the city site, scroll down, get to it, or you can just get to it directly. There is a section, and I'm looking at you because I know you're excited about this, but we do have a calendar. It's a community calendar. We'll want to be really thoughtful with this. It's always, it can get tricky when you have community events on a calendar, but I think that just run the events by me. Mainstream art events that aren't super controversial, that aren't political, should definitely be on that calendar. If they're educational opportunities, the grant seminars, the big Ojai studio artists events. Yeah, we'll just have to be careful not to promote specific businesses, and we'll get the feel for that. And if it starts to go
Yeah.
astray, then maybe we'll get some
Is this
guidelines.
part of the Arts Commission, or is this a city arts calendar, or is this part of the Arts Commission section?
This is the Arts Commission website,
good.
and it's kind of a
At this point,
hybrid.
I'm the one with access on that.
You're the
I
one with
haven't-
access.
I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I'm
Yeah.
ready for you guys to tell me to.
And I
Okay.
I'm
'Cause we
still
need
working on
content, yeah.
populating it. There's a ton of content in there, and I'm wondering, I need to get some direction from you guys, like
Yes.
with the public art, because
Yeah.
there's so much public art content. I kind of think a slideshow with long captions would be a really good way to do it. Then people
Nice.
could, on their phone, kind of look at the public art, and it would be easy to keep up that way.
Nice.
But I'll stumble through, I'll send it out to all of you to take a look at, get back to me, and we'll have it in decent order by the 5th, and then you can take it and make improvements as needed. The way it will work, you have the login, so you can access certain areas of it, and then it will come to Kiara for just a quick approval, so she knows when you're posting new content. So that's cool, it's exciting.
Good,
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be part of our communication division.
Yeah, and when you want to talk about something, you can write a news article for the front page of your website. You can create a link to that. You can put that out through all of your personal social media. It's just another great way to get
Right,
people connected.
we'll ask for a little money to get some beautiful content that's timely, and look forward to that.
Okay.
Anything else for us, my dear?
That is all I have for you at
Nothing-
this point.
Nothing else?
No, everything that you know. Kiara's going to be a wonderful addition. She's worked with you before. She knows and loves you already. So I will bring her up to date on everything that we've been working on. So it should be a very smooth transition.
Great.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Comments? Other than, I feel like we've been commenting a lot, but let's go this way.
I'm speechless.
Good. Christina, you got
I have
something?
just one quick thing, which is that the Ojai Arts Center is now presenting Red, which is a marvelous theatrical performance. It's about Mark Rothko's creation of the Seagram mural, which, as you probably all know, is at Tate Britain. And I saw it more than once on Broadway with Alfred Molina and Eddie Redmayne, and it's really quite marvelous. So I urge you all to not miss it.
I painted one of the paintings for that production.
Oh, well, there you go. Right.
And Gail Childress.
Our very own Rothko.
Valerie, you got something for us?
Oh, I think I'm pretty much said enough,
Okay.
yeah.
Very good, guys.
I just remembered something
Thank
I
you.
forgot to say. The databases that you're creating, could you please make sure that those get to the city so we can get them
We will,
here?
we will. We're going to have it all in one
That's
big.
key. It will be city only, right.
Yeah, it's going to be on a big Excel or spreadsheet program
It's a PDF at the moment?
format.
Okay.
What
What
format
was
do
it
you
before it was a PDF?
I did an InDesign.
Nope,
Okay, I have a design as well.
Commissioner comments.
So that's fine.
I was going to
Maybe
make a
both,
comment.
if you don't mind that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm commenting just to upset Christine. You know, one of my things to do is reach out to other commissions, and I tried Parks and Recs, both the chair and the co-chair, and they don't answer me, so I just sort of, in case anyone's listening, because I can't think of a better commission for us to work with than someone that has facilities, you know. So I'll continue to do that too. All right. Thank you all for your time, and thank you, Betsy, for the liaison report. And until further notice, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Valerie, that has to go in the refrigerator. It lives in the refrigerator.
Good night, everybody. I'm running.
Run too.
Long, but I feel like it's productive.
Thank you for these, Valerie. I mean Pam. I mean everybody. Thank you for our name tags.
Oh, and take, Smitty, take Nigel's tag for him?